Hi, I'm Dazza Greenwood, and we are going to continue now with our series of quick start guides to using my new open source AI evaluation workbench called Lake Merritt. Let's see where we left off. And the last guide, I believe, was we got about halfway through guide number 2, which was this mode B of using the Lake Merritt platform. And this is when we want to generate some data before doing the evals. I showed how to generate the outputs. For this next phase, it's a little edgier. I call this hold my beer because we're actually going to generate close to everything. This is for a very quick start when you've got an idea of the kinds of questions that your system or the kind of inputs your system will be using, but you haven't yet got to the point of fussing over what the ideal outputs would look like, much less having example outputs from the system. Doing evals really early in the process of building AI systems is definitely recommended. I actually do evals first now. Like I set up some rough estimate of what evals might look like before I write my first line of code or have the LLM write it. This is not a bad example of how to do that. What do we do in this case? We're going to start with a couple of inputs. One of them is write a Python function that adds two numbers, and another one's explain the concept of photosynthesis in one sentence. First, let's go to Lake Merritt. I'll put in a OpenAI API key. Looking good. Go to evaluation. We'll select mode B, and we'll need a CSV. Of course, these, as you know, if you've been following along, these guides are very self-contained, giving you everything you need. We'll go ahead and create that CSV that we need that just has the inputs. It's going to be called inputs_only.csv. Let me open up a nice text editor. I'll save that correctly. We are in a little folder that you will have seen that I created just for these walkthroughs. Now let's get that data and we'll populate the CSV with it. Looking good. Now the next step is go to eval setup, mode B, generate new data, and we're going to click a different button this time to show those options. We have to first upload the data. Input only.csv. Here we go. Again, you can always preview it, which I always do just to triple check it's right. That is definitely right. And last time we did generate model outputs. This time we're going to do generate the expected outputs first. Let's see what a good message would be for that. You're a helpful teaching assistant. Yeah, that's good enough, I guess. This is guiding the model for what we want. Or a helpful assistant creating a perfect, concise answer key. It's pretty good. OpenAI GPT-4, good enough. Let's generate some data, my friends. So we're now generating the ideal answer. Don't use these for production, but it's good to have something as a start. Let's see. And as usual, the LLM did a pretty good job. I can't see the entire thing, but we can view let me download this before we get any further. So what do we have? We have inputs and expected outputs. And then the next step, if you wanted to actually run the eval, I am going to update this one fine day to just have a button that's, click the button, get the expected outputs, click a button, get the outputs, click a button, go right to eval. Right now it's a little bit more manual, but all you would do is you just kind of blow this one away and now upload the inputs and expected outputs, and basically go through the same guide that I did before, which is how to generate outputs. So we have no inputs. Let's just triple check this. Inputs, expected outputs. We have no outputs, rather. So if I generate data now, I will get outputs. And I've got outputs. It's the process by which And they look pretty darn. This one's talking about bacteria. This one's talking about algae and some bacteria. So these might be identical. I probably should have used different models or different settings for them, but let's go ahead and download this. So now we've got everything, and I'll bet you will get exact matches. Blow this away. While we're here, why don't we do the evals? Because that's what it's all about. We just made this one. Anyway, these results. I can't type when you're watching. Here we go. Wait, wrong thing. User error. We're in mode A, which is just evaluate existing outputs. We're not generating any data now. We've got all the data in columns A, B, and C, right? Yes. And now we select our scores. Let's do exact match. We might have an exact match, and we'll do LLM as a judge. Double check this is looking good. Yes, it is. Run the evals. Hope for the best. Live demos known to cause all sorts of exotic problems. 50% exact match and 100% on the LLM as a judge. Let's see how we're looking here. 0.9. So let's look at that second one and see what's going on, because there's some interesting issues going on. So we just pull this down again, and we can inspect the second one. The input, explain the concept of photosynthesis in one sentence. The actual output in that second column. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants, algae, and some bacteria transform light energy, water, and carbon dioxide into glucose and oxygen. I didn't realize it applied to water and carbon dioxide as well. I thought it was just light. The expected outcome and glucose. So what's going on with the judge? Why was this not a perfect score? The main difference lies in phrasing transform light energy versus convert sunlight. Sure, I'm not a scientist. I can't really evaluate whether. I didn't even know half of the stuff happened in photosynthesis. But anyway, here you have it. Hence the need to really spend manual human time on your expected outputs. And the exact match was a failure because it was not exactly the same words. Notice that these were exactly the same words in this little Python function. So when we look at the match here, we get, I'll bet the LLM as a judge is going to give it a perfect score. And it did. It matches it exactly. And we also get an exact match. These are toy examples, obviously, but that is pretty good. It's tracking the way I would expect it to track. Let's go to the download center, and maybe this is a good time for me to also show what these look like. Let's download these. This is guide to B ports, reports. Download the CSV, download the JSON, summary report, all the configs, and detailed scores. Let's take a look at what's in the reports. Open them all up at once. This is, here we go. Here are, what is this one? This is the detailed scores. So you'll notice that usually, at least when I do these, especially for clients, there could be hundreds or more of different rows or different JSON objects. And so the ability to do sort, filter, search is really great. So you can do that on the ID number, which is incredibly useful when you want to go back and find a specific one that's maybe been vexing you. You can do it based on the scorer, what kind of, if you want to mix and match, or you want to just look at the LLM as a score, the reasoning. This is the full results, input, output, expected output. So you have it at your fingertips, along with the score, the output of the judgment, the reasoning, and so forth. This is it in beautiful, clean JSON, which I personally love because everything's just right here in a very organized, tidy manner. So this is really like a full dump of everything that happened, as it were. Here's the summary, and this is top line stuff. So after a big run, when you've changed things, this is usually the first place I will look, and clients and other people that use this will look, is just like bottom line, like how many passed, how many failed, you know, how long is it going to take us to go through all of the failures and figure out what really happened, that sort of stuff. And also just seeing if sometimes when you fix one thing, you start getting other things to fail. So it's a nice top line way to look at stuff. Oh, and this is the config, which is really important. So we'll get into this in the next guide, but this actually isn't. Now you've got your first look at an eval pack, an evaluation pack. This one happens to be built in, that it just does CSVs with 3 columns, which is a typical kind of eval. It's one way to do a simple eval, but you can make your own eval packs to do much more different, much more varied, different types of evaluations. And once you do that, you can start keeping version numbers of them and do some really interesting stuff programmatically. So there you have it. We have now successfully completed all of guide number 2, both generating data and, hold my bear, we're going to generate virtually all the data. Next up will be guide number 3. So stay tuned.